Hello everyone. For today's chess video, we are going to learn some new lines. So let's get started. First, French defense. White continues with e4 as usual, letting his bishops and queens diagonal open. Black, instead of playing e5, plays e6. The reason of playing e6 is to dominate the center square d5 and letting his bishops and queens diagonal open. Now white continues with d4 to grab the more center squares. Now black plays d5 as French defense continues because black pawn attacks on the white pawn. Now there are two options. You can prefer any of those options. First, we'll look on the block variation. e5. Now black here plays pawn on c5. If white pawn captures him on c5, then this bishop can capture the pawn back. So white plays knight on f3. Now black continues while playing knight c6, attacking on this pawn twice, once with the pawn and once with the knight. Here's how the game continues. Now we'll go back some moves. Yes, here we'll look at the second variation, which is a capture variation. White captures, black captures. Now white plays bishop d3. The main idea to play bishop d3 before knight is that bishop can control on f5, not letting the opponent's bishop to come on f5. Same with the black side. Now we can just do the basic development, castle, and here's how the game continues. Our next position which we are going to look is the Scandinavian defense. The white starts with the e4. Black, instead of playing e6 or e5, plays d5. Now white usually captures this. After that, queen takes the pawn. Now white has many options like developing his knight on f3, developing his knight on c3, developing his bishop on d3, but the bishop d3 is not a good play. White should go with knight c3. After that, queen has various options like queen a5, queen d8 and queen d6. If you want to play safe, you can go on queen d8. After that, white continues with d4. Black brings out his knight. White also brings out his knight. And you can develop your pieces further. Bishops. And keep in mind that you have to develop your minor pieces first, and then in the middle game or so, you have to bring out your major pieces. Our third opening for the day is Royal Lopez opening. First, the white starts with e4. Black normally starts with e5, knight f3, knight c6. Now, here's a twist. Instead of playing bishop c4, knight c3, and many more developing options, you can directly play your bishop, which is on f1 to b5. Now, if this pawn was not here, the knight was pinned for king. The black plays a6 to kick the bishop. Now, in this case, if you play your bishop on a4, the black will play his pawn push on b5, forcing a bishop to go back. In this case, you must capture his knight on c6. Now, after that, he has to capture with the d-file pawn, because if he captures with the b-file pawn, then he would have double pawn plus isolated pawn. So, if he captures with c-file with d-file pawn, he only has a double pawn. Now, you have an opportunity to capture his pawn and go for further development. Our fourth opening for this day is the Queen's Gambit. White, instead of playing e4, plays d4. Now black replies the white with d5. White plays c4. Black has two options. Either he can capture on c4 or play e6. First we'll look into the capture variation. After capturing the pawn, you can play e3, attacking on his pawn on c4. And if you are able to capture his pawn on c4, your bishop will get an important place. For example, your bishop now on c4 is attacking on f7, which is near the king, which square is near the king. And you may plan queen b3 and bishop c4 in one diagonal attacking on f7. That can be very dangerous for the black king. Now we'll look on to the second variation, which is not capturing the pawn. If he plays e6, you play knight c3, attacking on his pawn d5 twice. Now he has to support it again. He has two defenders, but he is bringing support and also developing his pieces. Now you also continue with the simple developments. Now your pawns on the d4 square and the c4 square are controlling the center squares e5 and d5 respectively. Now while black will also try to develop his pieces, you may also develop your pieces, and this is how the game continues. You learned about the Queen's Gambit, but do you want to learn how to counter it? So let's check it out. Queen's Gambit followed by d4, d5, c4. Now instead of playing pawn captures c4 or e6, you have another variation, which is c6. This is called the Slav defense. Now if white wishes to capture, you also capture back with your c6 pawn, but white won't do that. So he will play knight on c3. You should play your knight f6 so that you are also bringing more support for your piece. White continues with a simple development f3.